Cinematic VR Crash Course.
Hello everyone, good to have you back. We have a very exciting lesson today because now that you've stitched your dailies and created your ambisonic audio, it's finally time to start the editing process. In this lesson, I do not only show you my workflow, but also some of the VR features inside of Premiere. So let's go and open up Premiere. I already went ahead and created a new project, and in that project I've created my default folder structure. So as you can see, I created folders for my sequences, videos, audio, miscellaneous, and exports. So in this way I can structure my project always in the same way, and it's really easy to find my videos back or my sequences. So what we're going to do is import the dailies by going to the dailies folder and double click, and in the editing folder I find our video file. Also, if I go back to the audio folder, we'll import our ambisonic audio recording. So as you can see, it's in the production audio folder, and it's an ambix file. And it's really important that we are going to use this audio from now on, because that will be our leading audio. So it will be the audio that we can preview and listen to. It will be audio of a much higher quality than the original GoPro audio. Okay, so now we have our video and our audio, and we want to create a new sequence. So go to Edit, and here click the New Sequence button, and it will give us all the presets of new sequences. And what we want to do is create a new VR sequence, and in the resolution 4K by 2K and with ambisonic audio. And this will also enable the preset adaptive. So if you create a new sequence from your clip or in a custom way, and you're working with ambisonic audio that you want to preview, don't forget to adjust the setting to adaptive. So click this one and click OK. And I'm just gonna rename it real quick. Okay, so now we have that. And what I can see is that the frame rate is 29.97, and that's different from our clip. So the first thing I'm gonna do is go to my sequence settings and change the time base to our clip's frames per second, and also check the other settings. So our resolution is fine the way it is, and our audio also already contains 4 channels per audio track, which is great. And down at the VR properties, the projection is equirectangular and the layout is monoscopic, and that's what you want if you're working with VR video in order to get all the tools inside of Premiere working. So click OK, and we can now drag in our video and also our audio. If I zoom in on that, you can see our ambisonic audio contains four layers of audio inside one track, and that's how you want to work with ambisonic audio in Premiere. So now what I want to do is synchronize both of the audio layers by selecting them both, right click and synchronize. We're going to synchronize on the audio. So for example, the clap before I called action is a good point to sync. And click OK. And let Premiere do the job. As you can see, it offsetted our video a bit. And what I can do now is relink the clip with our production audio, because that will be our leading audio from now on, and we don't need the GoPro audio anymore. So first unlink our original recording and delete our GoPro audio, and then select both of the other clips and link them again. So what I can see now is if I make a cut, it automatically also cuts in our production audio, and that's great. Okay, now we have our sequence set up. I'm just gonna fold it in a little bit. Now we have our sequence set up. I can show you some of the VR tools inside of Premiere. You see here a button, and it is the toggle for the VR video display. If you set up your sequence just the way I did, this will work automatically with an equirectangular video. And go ahead and click it, and as you can see, I can now look through the video as I would see the video in a VR headset. If you don't have this button, go to the plus, and you can drag it from here into your toolbar. And also another workaround is going to the wrench menu and go to VR video and then click enable. So that's an awesome tool to just review your 360 video real quick and also play it back in a 360 sphere. What I can also do is have a live preview inside of my Oculus Rift. So I already connected it, and I also have my Oculus Touch controllers, and I can show you a really nice trick that Premiere added in this version. In order to have your Oculus working inside of Premiere, you need to adjust the settings of the preferences. If you go to playback preferences and you tick this box, Adobe Immersive Environment, everything should work fine. And of course you should have Steamvr running. So as you can see, I have my controller and I have my Oculus and I have one base station, and I'm going to show you, let's see, the display mirror. So this is what I see right now through my VR headset, and as you can see, when I move along, we also see my touch controller here. And with the touch controller, I have two options that I can adjust. So I can play and pause, and I also show my timeline. And that's one of the really smart tools that Premiere added. So I can just scrub around in my video and at the same time look around. So this is really easy to edit with inside of a VR headset, and that's unique. We can also just play and stop. So this makes it very easy to play back and review, especially if you're working with a director who wants to see how it will look in the VR headset, of course. I'm just going to close this down because we're not going to use this anymore right now. Some other features of the Adobe Immersive Environment that we are going to walk through real quick are some video effects. So if you go to effects, just going to drag this away. If you're going to go to effects and type in immersive, you see that all kinds of effects and transitions pop up. And one I'm going to show you is the VR rotate sphere. And that's something you can use in order to change the first position of the viewer. So if I open up my VR video display, this is at 0 degrees and 0 degrees, the first thing that the viewer is going to see. And with the rotate sphere, so I already dragged it on top of my video. If I go to effect controls, I can adjust the tilt and the pan and also the roll. So that's a great tool to adjust your video, and especially with VR video, you want to direct the viewer, and you want to create like a line through the video that your viewer has to walk through. So as an editor of VR video, it's more than just making cuts between scenes, but it's mostly creating the right line of looking through your video. So that's something you can also keyframe with the rotate sphere. Okay, so now we've walked through some of the VR features of Premiere. I'm going to create my my edit, and what I'm going to do, I have action in front of the window. I have some action inside of the teepee, and in the end, they will close it down. So there are some pieces that I don't like that much, and this scene is way too long. So as you can see, the father here, this piece is not too pretty. So I want to just make some cuts in between the pieces of action, and I want to create cross dissolves. So I'm just gonna pause it for now and come back when I've created my edit. Alright, and there we have it. I just created some easy cuts in between our clip and added cross dissolves on top. So you can see them fade away from the window to the teepee, back to the window, and back to the tent. So I hope that my workflow now is a lot more clearer. So what I've did is exported dailies from Mystica, then started editing with the dailies, and they are really easy to edit with. And then afterwards, now I know how my edit will look like, so I don't need the full clip in high quality. So now I can just select this one, press F, and then here in the source monitor, it shows up how much of the clip is used. So now I can just go to my endpoint with this button and see that from frame 4027 to 5043 is what we need to export in stereo and in high quality. If you have timecode shown here, you can right click it and choose frames, which is much easier. And what I always do is add some head and end space, especially because we're working with cross dissolves, in order to make some last minute adjustments, so you're not stuck with your first raw edit. So go ahead and note all these down. So press F, see where the in and outputs are, and do that for all your clips. And if you've noted that down and added some head and end space, we can go back to Mystica VR. Alright, so I've opened up our Mystica project again, and as you can see, our optical flow is still turned off, and we are going to export in high quality, so I'm tick that box. And you can always make some last minute adjustments on your stitch if you want, but for now this is fine for me. And we are going to export the pieces of our clip that we just created in Premiere Pro, and you can do that by filling in the frame numbers down here. So the first one for me is 3364, and click in, then go to your end frame, and that is 4079. And if you're there, click the out. So now we've created our out point. Click File and Render, and choose your file type. I'm going to choose an image sequence, which is a clip containing for every individual frame a different DPX file. And I do that because later on in our VFX pipeline it will be really easy to work with. And besides that, you also have the ability to render out a couple of frames. If, for example, you're not happy with a couple of frames, or there's some faulty renders, or things like that. So you don't need to wait on a full render of a video, which can take up quite long. So choose image sequence. If you want to create a video, of course that's possible. So I would suggest choosing the ProRes settings, but for now, image sequence, and our codec will be DPX RGB 10-bit, and we have top-bottom stereo, and DPX sequences cannot hold audio, so none is fine. Our name is also fine. Choose your destination and click render. As easy as it is. And now let Mystica do the job. Alright, so now we're back in Premiere. I'm going to import my high quality images. So go to the high quality folder and go to my editing folder, high quality stitch. And here you have the 4 folders which contain the image sequences that we've just exported from Mystica. So if you go to one of those image sequences and you click the first one, don't forget to tick the box image sequence when you're importing them, and click open. So as you can see, it imports it as a video file, and it also uses the same frame rate that we have exported our dailies in. So that's exactly what we want. So do the same for the 4 clips that you've exported. We've done that. We can go to our edit and duplicate this one so we don't lose any progress. You just call it edit 02. That will be our high quality stitch. And if we import our image sequences on top of our edit, immediately we see that the resolution doesn't fit the original resolution, and that's very logical because our dailies were in 4K by 2K and monoscopic, and of course we are now working with stereoscopic video, so we need to double our vertical resolution. So we'll increase it in the sequence settings to 4K by 4K, and also we need to adjust our VR properties from monoscopic to stereoscopic, and click OK. So now, as you can see here in the program monitor, our image sequences perfectly fit. And this is exactly what a stereoscopic video is. It contains the left and right eye on top of each other. But there is something different from our original edit, because we of course added some head and end space on our high quality exports. So as you can see, our new sequence is a bit longer, but I did that on purpose in order to have the right amount of frames for the cross dissolves, because it uses some extra frames. So what I do, I align the beginning and end of my high quality clips to the beginning and end of the cross dissolves. So you can go ahead and do the same. And now, as you can see, it fits perfectly, but we do need to make them a little bit shorter in order to let them fit on the timeline, and then arrange them all on one track. Oh, that was one too far. Okay, so now we have that. We can add the cross dissolves by select them all and press Ctrl D. This will create the cross dissolves, and you can adjust them by double clicking them and give them the right amount of frames in order to fit the original edit the way it was. Okay, and we don't want the last one. So now we have duplicated our original rough edit, and we've created a high quality edit of it. So that's exactly what we wanted, and now we can export it, but there's still a few steps that I want to solve, and I'm going to do that in the next lesson, because as you can see here in my right eye I have some glitches, and those are glitches that came from the recording, so they're in the original footage. They didn't come through the stitching process, so that's something we need to address and we definitely need to fix. Also, we want to clean out the lines in the ceiling and of course the lamps. And if we look down, we also still see a tripod, and we also want to clean that out too. So in the next lesson, I'm going to address all those problems and also add some titles, so you can do some basic operations on VFX. So see you later in the next lesson, and thanks for watching.